Hello guys, welcome to our first video of the semester here. Right now we're going to start off by going over lesson 8.2, how to find the volume of cylinders. So if you remember, when we left off in 7th grade, we were talking about finding the volume of prisms. So now we're going to relate that and change it a little bit to work with finding the volumes of cylinders. So let's start off with what is a cylinder. So in math, a cylinder is a three-dimensional solid that holds two parallel bases joined by a curved surface at a fixed distance. These bases are normally circular in shape, and at the center of the two bases are joined by one line segment, which we call the axis. That would be this H right here. So basically, what's a cylinder? It's a prism or a container where it has two circle bases, and then if you fold it out, it would look like a rectangular object wrapped around this here. But basically, it's just two circular bases. That's what's distinct about it. So our goal for today, in this lesson, we are going to learn how to find the volume of the cylinder. We will relate this to the volume of a rectangular prism and see how they are similar. Lastly, we will use what we have learned and have learned to solve real-world problems in solving volume. All right, so let's start with our formula for today. So our formula for the volume of the cylinder is volume is equal to pi r squared h, where pi is approximately 3.14, r is the radius of the circle, and h is the height of the cylinder. Now, this is very important that we get this down in our notebook. Make sure you label it the volume of the cylinder and you give us this formula right here. You might even want to denote this volume C or something like that. That way you know it relates to the cylinder. So how is this similar to our volume of prisms? Well, remember when we were working with prisms, a volume of a prism is equal to the area of the base times the height. Let's look at what we're doing here. Remember our formula for area of a circle? It was pi r squared, right? So this is really basically the same thing. We're finding the area of our bottommost figure. In a prism, it would be a square or a triangle or whatever that was. But in a cylinder, it would be a circle. So we're going to find the area of this circle, and then we're going to multiply by how tall it is. Basically, if we were to stack these circles on top of each other over and over and over again, for as high as this could go, we would take the area of each one, and that would give us the volume. So it's very similar to the area of a prism. All right, so what is the volume of a cylinder with radius 5 and height 2.5? We're going to use 3.14 to approximate pi. So remember, our volume of a cylinder is equal to pi r squared h. So here, this would be 3.14. We're going to substitute that in for pi times 2.5 squared. Oops, sorry, got that backwards. Times 5 squared. The radius was 5. Apologize. And the height was 2.5. So there's a lot of numbers here. I just tell you guys to go to your calculator. So you can do 3.14 times 5 squared times 2.5, and that'll give us the number 196.25. And we don't have units right now, but this would be units cubed, units cubed, because we're finding volume. Alrighty, next we can go into our other one here. We want to find, in terms of pi, which is larger. So our area of our base is 6 pi. Our height is 10, so that means our volume is going to be 6 pi times 10, which is equal to 60 pi. Here, this tells us our circumference is 6 pi. Okay, so we ran into our first problem here. We don't know our radius. Remember, the formula for circumference is equal to pi times the diameter, or 2 times the radius. So here our circumference is 6 pi, is equal to 2 pi r. I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 2 pi. The reason I'm dividing by 2 pi is because these pi's will cancel out. So pi divided by pi is obviously 1, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we find out here that our radius is equal to 3. Now let's plug this back into our formula here. Volume is equal to the area of the base times the height, or pi r squared h. So we have pi 3 squared times 6, which is equal to 9 times 6, which would be 54. So 54 pi. So that means that cylinder A was larger because it had area 60 pi. All right, last one here. We want to find our unknown. So we have a cylinder with height 10 and radius 5. So cylinder has height 10 and radius 5. Volume is equal to pi r squared h, which is equal to, the radius would be, squared would be 25. 5 times 5 is 25. Our height is 10 times pi. So that would be 250 pi. And now this video is about to end here. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to finish this all up in the second video. I'll see you guys in that one momentarily.